何があってもリリアを守るよ。約束だ。
Hey guys, this is Neil, also known as Alvin, and this is my early review of Knights of Azure 2, Bride of the New Moon, based on the Japanese version. Now, the English version is not out yet. It's supposed to be released this month on the 24th for North America and on the 27th for Europe. And I just wanted to share a quick review about this game since it's coming out pretty soon, and let you guys know what I think about this game and if you should really buy it. Since it's based on the Japanese version, there's a lot of terms or names that might change from the actual official localization. So if there are anything that's different, kind of bear with it, because I'm based on the Japanese version. And for this video, the first part, I will be introducing the game and the story about it. What's so special? What is the deal with Knights of Azure? And on the second part is my actual review and thoughts about this game. So if you already know what Knights of Azure is and you just want to know about my opinion on it, then you can just skip to the second part. So the first game, Knights of Azure, or Yororunai Kuni in Japanese, came out on October 1st in 2015, where the English version came out like 5 months after the Japanese release. And it did okay in terms of sales wise. It's around 1 million. And now this game is developed by Gust, a development team under Koei Tecmo. Now they have a pretty small budget while developing these games, and when they first released the first game, it was kind of like their new IP, so they were testing around with a lot of elements, and you can see that the game isn't really that complicated. It's pretty straightforward with hack and slash RPG game. So technically speaking, they have a lot of room for improvement if they were trying to do a sequel, which they did. So this game was supposed to release last year, but due to some certain reason they shifted to this year. My guess it's because they wanted to port it to Nintendo Switch back then when it was going to release, and so they decided to shift it to this year because, for sales reason, they didn't want to release different platforms with a big gap. I think that's enough talk about the first game and the background settings, so let's just jump into the second game. Long ago, there was a great battle between the Saints and the Night Lord. During the battle, the Night Lord's blue blood rained across the sky and starts affecting living creatures, turning them into fiends. Now, with fiends and demons roaming during the night, humanity's life will never be at peace ever again. During that same time, the land is covered with night, never to see daylight. In order to stop the night from spreading, they need to sacrifice a saint to seal the power of the Lords of Night. On the other hand, we have the Order of Lourdes, an organization who believes that they cannot sacrifice the Bride of Time because she possesses the power that awakens the Moon Queen. If the Moon Queen is to awaken her true power, then we will never see the light of day. The main protagonist, Aluche, is now a holy knight of the new Korea. Her job as a holy knight is to protect the new saint, Liliana, who also happens to be her childhood friend. Coincidence? During her escort to Korea, Aluche discovers that Liliana has been chosen to be the next Bride of Time, one to be sacrificed to the Moon Queen. Things just gets worse a moment later. A powerful fiend suddenly appeared and attacked them. Although Aluche fought bravely, she was still no match for the powerful fiend. After awakening, she realized that someone has brought her back to life, but there's something a little bit different about her. Aluche has turned into a half-demon. Now brought back to life, she sets off to find Liliana and tries to save the world. And that's how the story goes. Aluche's actions are pretty straightforward. You have a light attack, a heavy attack, block, jump, and dash. Depending on how you combine your light attacks and heavy attacks, you can perform several different types of combos. Each combo are actually useful for different types of enemies or situations. As you progress through the story, you will unlock party members. You can bring 2 servants and 1 character along with you during battle. Each Lily has their own unique behavior, attacks, and skills. What's more is that every Lily has their own double chain. Double chain requirements differs from each Lily, but the gauge always resets if there are no enemies near you. Another special attack is called Lily Burst. Lily Burst gauge does not reset after clearing out enemies in the area, which means you can hold on to it as long as you want, and use it at the right time. These Pokemon-like creatures actually helps you unlock different areas or even transform into different weapons for you to command. While just like Pokemon, they can even evolve, change appearances, and even prestige. Okay, so how does our main character Aluche level up then? Aluche has to enter a tomb-like machine to actually purify her own body. Enemies drop blue bloods for you to collect. You exchange these blue bloods in your tome to level up. Each time you level up, you'll gain ability points. You then can use these ability points on your skill tree, depending on which skill tree you want to focus on, either weapons, your personal statics, or other buffs or debuffs, or even drop rates. Players will have to think carefully about what they want to do for each day. As days goes by, the blue moon will start to turn black. Once it reaches full black, the game is over. Although that being said, you still need a rest when you need to take one. And since we're in a luxurious hotel, there's gotta be a good pool. And when there's a pool with a lot of girls, you need to start romance. Knights of Azure, after all, is still a love story about 2 girls. Or used to be 2 girls. In Knights of Azure 2, there's a lot to choose from. And it's nice to have options. So I think by now you have a general idea about the game already. So the question is, should you buy the game? For the people who bought the first game and loved it, I would give you a definitely yes. So the first game had a lot of flaws in their combat system. When you hit someone, there's not enough feedbacks on whether you landed a hit, or even when you receive damage, you barely even notice until you notice you lost a lot. Probably the only thing I missed about the first game is its transformation system, because we don't have that in Knights of Azure 2. That's taken out. I guess it's because since we have double chain and Lily Burst already, those are quite powerful enough. We don't actually need a transformation system, but it's still a cool thing. And I'm pretty sure people who like the first game spend a lot of time customizing those 4 decks of their servant. You could say that this is the best part of the RPG element in the first game, because you spend a lot of time trying to figure out what's the best matchup, what's the best element for each levels or each boss, and what's the best transformation that you could use in different situations, etc. But I think it's okay they took that out for Knights of Azure 2, because weapons are transformed from your servants rather than you can just switch them like before in Knights of Azure 1. So there's a lot of strategic stuff you have to think about before going out to any maps during the night. Not only just that, but in Knights of Azure 2 you need to consider how to level up your accessories as well. So gameplay wise it's all good. Now story wise it's even better, I would say. In Knights of Azure 1 you only have one girl to choose from, and basically that's fixed. The professor and merchant doesn't really build up any of the side stories. That's good. In Knights of Azure 2 every character has their own backstory that actually helps builds up their character around the world. Another thing to note is that at least for the Japanese version there are 2 story-based DLC that's gonna come up soon. Now I don't know if the North American and European version will include that in the game or it's gonna be a DLC as well. And they even have a new producer from IG Productions, I think, for the storytelling. So yeah, if you like the first game, there is no reason that you'll hate on the second one. It's definitely for you. Now if you never played Knights of Azure before and if you're wondering if you should buy Knights of Azure 2, well, there are some things that we need to consider here. This is obviously not a AAA game. It's a pretty low budget, but they did a lot of upgrading the graphics from the first game. So if you like beautiful anime girls, if you like it with action, if you like it with RPG, if you like Yuri in general, then yeah, this game is definitely the game for you. Now if you're none of the above and you just happen to be here for some reason, I don't know whatever reason it is, but then you probably might want to try it out first before you buy it and see if you like it. I would promise you that the combat is pretty solid. I mean, the dash cancel is pretty fluent right now, which I like it a lot. I didn't like it in the first game. It was still a little bit sluggish for me. But yeah, that was good. If you like playing any, I don't know, Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors game, any of those, then you could try this one out as well. I mean, it's still fun with the action. Now there's a small percentage of players out there who might want to play Knights of Azure on the PS Vita. Knights of Azure 2 on the Vita is only for Japan. It's Japan only. Sorry, they're not going to release the Vita version for North America and Europe. I mean, come on. I don't think there's any more PS Vita players left there anyways. I mean, the presentation on the PS Vita isn't really that good, to be honest. And if you really want to play it on handheld, hey, there's the Nintendo Switch, right? I mean, you can bring that one out, right? And it's way better than the PS Vita. I mean, it looks way better than PS Vita. And hey, they know that players want more fan services, so they did. And did I even mention that the lock-on system actually works right now? I mean, in the first game, the lock-on system was, like, totally useless. Now it's like, wow, it actually locks on. So it's pretty obvious they listened to our feedback. They listened to their fans and their consumers, and they tweaked with a lot of gimmicks with boss fights. So all in all, I would say that give Knights of Azure 2 a try. I mean, I really do think that they deserve another chance at this game. So I hope this video actually helped. If you are wondering if you should buy this game or not. So let me know if you think this video is useful for you or anything that I might need to add. And I hope you enjoy this game when it comes out.
走るがいい。この明けない夜の中で。そして奏でなさい。あなたの生きる音を。